They thought they had broken me. The neighborhood association laughed when they sold off my 3,200 acres of farmland behind my back. They thought I was just a worn-out farmer, too old, too simple, too quiet to fight back. But what they didn't know was that the land they stole from me was not just soil, it was the heartbeat of my family, my legacy, my bloodline. And when you take away a man's roots, he has nothing left to lose. What came next shocked everyone, because instead of begging for my land back, I found a way to own every single roof those smug HOA members slept under. And when the sheriff knocked on their doors with eviction notices, they finally understood what happens when you underestimate a farmer who knows the law better than you do. This is my story. I was born on that land. My father worked it, his father before him, and it stretched wide, golden, and proud across 3,200 acres of wheat, corn, and rolling pastures. To outsiders, it was just farmland. To us, it was family. Every fence post had a story, every tree was a witness to our sweat and tears. But time has a way of turning neighbors into enemies. Over the years, a shiny new development popped up near the edge of my property, a homeowners association that thought they were royalty just because their houses all looked the same. They drove luxury cars, held endless HOA meetings, and slowly began treating me like I was in their way. They complained about my tractors, my irrigation pumps, even the smell of fresh manure. Then one morning, I woke up to a nightmare. I went down to the courthouse to renew some property records, and the clerk told me something that almost made me collapse. "Mr. Carter, according to our system, your land was sold 6 weeks ago." Sold? My land? The HOA had filed fake paperwork, used a shell company, and somehow convinced the county that they had the right to put my farmland up for public auction. Without my consent. Without my signature. Without so much as a phone call. And the worst part? Some slick real estate developers, backed by HOA board members, snapped it up for pennies on the dollar. I felt sick. I drove out to my fields, my chest tight, my eyes burning. My crops were already being bulldozed down by machines. Signs went up overnight, future site of Oakwood Luxury Estates. I tried to fight it in court. I hired lawyers. I showed them my family deeds, my father's signatures, even the will that named me sole inheritor. But the HOA was powerful. They had money. They had city councilmen in their pockets. And the judge ruled against me. Just like that, 3,200 acres, everything my family had built, was gone. For a month, I couldn't sleep. I'd sit on my porch at night, staring across the land that no longer belonged to me. I felt like a ghost on my own soil. My wife would hold my hand and tell me to let it go, but how do you let go of your soul? One night, as I stared into the dark fields, I whispered to myself, "If they can take everything from me illegally, then maybe I can take everything from them legally." That was the moment the fight truly began. I stopped wasting time with sympathy and started learning. Day and night, I pored over county records, zoning laws, foreclosure documents, and housing codes. If the HOA could play dirty with the system, so could I, only I'd do it clean. I'd beat them with their own rules. I started small. A few homes in their fancy neighborhood had unpaid liens. Others were behind on property taxes. I quietly bought those debts. Then I bought more. Before long, I controlled dozens of liens that gave me the right to foreclose if the owners didn't pay up. And guess who those owners were? The very HOA board members who had laughed in my face. Next, I noticed something bigger. Their entire subdivision sat on land whose mortgage was tied up with a regional bank. And the bank? They were struggling. With the right moves, I could buy up their debt portfolio. It wasn't easy, it cost me every dime of my savings and a risky loan, but after 3 grueling months, I held the mortgage rights to the very houses those smug board members lived in. The day I walked into the HOA meeting with a stack of papers in my hand, I'll never forget the looks on their faces. They sneered at me at first, told me I didn't belong there. Then I laid the foreclosure notices down on the table one by one. "Mr. Benson, your house, 90 days behind." Mrs. Miller, property lien acquired. Mr. Green, mortgage now held by me. You all stole my land, but it looks like I own every home you live in. Silence. Then panic. They shouted, they threatened, they told me I couldn't do this. But every word I spoke was backed by law. Every document stamped and notarized. I hadn't broken the rules, I had mastered them. A month later, the sheriff's trucks rolled through their neighborhood. Families packed their things. For sale signs went up where their perfectly manicured lawns used to sit. As for me, I didn't sell those homes to strangers. No, I sold them back to hard-working families who needed a roof over their heads. Veterans, single moms, teachers. People who deserved a chance. The HOA members who destroyed my life ended up losing theirs piece by piece. And me? I didn't just get revenge, I built something new. Because when you take everything from a farmer, you forget one thing: the farmer knows how to plant seeds, and he knows exactly how to make them grow. Fire end message to viewers. Never underestimate the quiet ones. Sometimes the people you overlook are the ones who know how to win the hardest battles. If you stand for what's right, no matter how impossible it looks, you will rise again.